Cubs offense continues to be ice cold. What's the problem? How can it improve? Let's go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by Monopoly Go. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting with your friends. Download Monopoly Go now, free on the Google Play or Apple App Store. Game on. Dylan Cease allowed one hit and struck out 12 in 7 shutout innings as the Cubs fell to the Padres 3-0 on Wednesday and dropped 2 out of 3 in the series. Northsiders are now 22-16 on the campaign. The Cubs recorded one hit and did not record any hard contact all day, according to StatCast. They really did not even muster an opportunity as they were 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position and left just 3 on base. Sam, albeit against a worthy opponent in Cease, but today's the day to talk about the offense, and it was certainly a difficult day Wednesday against a difficult pitcher as the offense continues their cold streak.
You know, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
I'm more frustrated about Tuesday night's offensive output than I am Wednesday's.
Right.
Because of the pitcher. However, Jared Jones, Paul Skeens, times 2 at Wrigley Field. Dylan Cease just had him. Peralta, they did a nice job of last Sunday. You're in one of those stretches where you're struggling offensively, and you're going to be running into some pitchers that like to eat up people that are struggling offensively. Now, the good news is you're going to be getting fully healthy soon. As Seiya Suzuki, we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
He should be back by Friday. Bellinger's looked good in his 2 games. Swanson's got a knee thing. Is that what's causing him to hit the ball like he can't see what's coming? I don't know. Ian Happ's been really bad, well documented. They've been relying a lot on Tauchman. Horner took a hit by pitch to the arm today. Hopefully he's okay. Haven't gotten much out of your catchers. Morel's been very, very streaky. I think this offense is going to be 100% fine. They will have another stretch like this at some point in the year, and they are going to have a stretch probably soon here where they're on fire. However, when you're going up against guys that, are legit aces and you're struggling, might just be a time for the struggle bus. First it was, hey, we're not healthy. Now we're starting to get healthy. We're running into Cease. We're running into Jones. We're running in these guys. Maybe we could get those guys out early. But for me, Matt, when I talk about the offensive struggles, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I don't. But to me, it comes down to 2 guys right now. There are 2 massive automatic outs in the lineup that can't be for what they're paying, what they're being paid, and what they're expected to do, and that's the shortstop, and that's the left fielder. Those guys at some point are going to get out of it because they have track records that says they will. When they do, and you combine that with Suzuki and Bellinger being back, the offense is going to be just fine. I think Suzuki coming back is going to also help those guys, take some pressure off of them. Michael Busch, albeit a phenomenal walk-off on Tuesday night, since he's had that 5 home run stretch, he's been awful. I mean, can we say that? Is that okay to say that? The strikeout level, I'll get the stats up for you when you start talking. You look around, it's not a mystery why guys are struggling or why the offense is struggling. It's individually. Busch's chase is out of control. Happ is hitting the ball into the ground at a regular level, and his strikeouts are up. Swanson pulling the ball on the ground, whiffing. I mean, it's not – they're going to get this corrected. They're 22-16. All is well. But right now it's a tough stretch, and it's not going to get any easier with the guys they're facing.
So I do think there might be two separate things happening. Unfortunate with timing of rotations that you would face three really quality pitchers in a row. We'll see who the Pirates throw on Sunday. But to go from Cease to Jones, Cease to off day, to Jones to Skeens, who's making his debut and is possibly one of the first star pitchers that we've seen in a long time. Yeah, that the timing is not ideal, because really this dates back all the way to Saturday, April 27th. The Cubs won 7-1 the day before on a Friday night over the Red Sox. And since that Saturday game, which is now 12 games, they're hitting 195. Their on base is 284. They've scored 34 runs, which is an average total of 2.8 runs per game. They've walked only 38 times. And in 12 games, they have struck out an abominable 94 times. This is officially a problem. And you're going up against two pitchers. No one feels sorry for you. Do you think the Pirates are like, oh, the Cubs are cold? Oh man. No, you're going to have to get up for these games. We're going to preview it in a crossover with Locked On Pirates for Friday, more about that series specifically. But this is your schedule. You're going to have to play these games. The schedule goes on. Too bad. But the problems, I think, as you detail well, as you always do, are pretty clear. They swing at balls. They have players that are hitting in spots in which they really shouldn't be hitting because of injury or poor performance. And those guys are hitting poorly. I mean, you use the phrase automatic out. So you mean to tell me that the Cubs left fielder and the Cubs shortstop, who are on the banner outside Clark and Addison, are hitting like pitchers? And in these 12 games, the answer is yes. They have done that. And that has really hampered this club, and they are ice cold.
Matt, do you know the last time that Ian Happ got an extra base hit?
I'm going to guess that Friday game against the Red Sox.
Incorrect.
Okay.
It was April 23rd against Houston.
A few days before that, yeah.
He has not gotten an extra base hit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
15,
8, 9,
games.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's gone 15 consecutive games without an extra base hit. He's hitting in the middle of the lineup.
He has one homer on the year.
Right.
This is a player that we said, and one of my best friends, Kaz, always says he's got 20 plus. Happ's got to hit 20.
Right-handed.
We've said it on the show before. I mean, he has no power.
On the season, I think he has, let's see, 5 doubles, 1 triple, 1 homer. He has 7 extra base hits on the season.
And you better hope that Nico Horner is okay, and we'll find out when the clubhouse opens about 2 Central, 3 Central on Friday. We have to wait and see, because his double play partner offensively is, we have to hear, his knee might be bothering him. What? And it happened the last game of the Astros series. That was over a week ago. If he's hurt, don't play him. Put him on the IL. Let's get someone else in here. He could come back in 10 days because it's not major, but it's hampering him. So don't excuses or explanations. Really, this is the major leagues. This is not my freshman team the last 6 years.
Well, especially when you have a guy like Luis Vasquez who could defend, who's hitting the ball AAA. I guarantee you he would have had a better
10
stretch.
days?
Yeah,
100%.
So I just think. I think the Cubs might hit a little bit of a rough patch. Well, they've hit a rough patch offensively for a while, and that makes everything tougher. It makes it harder on the starters, makes it harder on the bullpen. But they're going to get out of it. Like, I know they're going to get out of it. I'm confident. Luckily, this division, I mean, Milwaukee got beat again on Wednesday. Cincinnati's really scuffling. St. Louis is really scuffling.
Right.
And Pittsburgh hasn't played well. They're about to get this jolt now that they have those two starters. So nobody's going to run away with it. Cubs are going to get hot again. There's no question in my mind. There's no question. But it's our responsibility to tell you what we're seeing. And what we're seeing right now is somebody, a couple guys that are really hurting the team. And look, Gomes and Amaya, nobody's expecting those guys to be the backbone of the offense, but they don't have to be this bad.
Right.
I mean, Yan Gomes is yet to draw a walk as we sit here on May 8th.
That is incredible.
And it just doesn't seem like he's really making an effort to make any adjustments whatsoever. I mean, it's basically been Hoerner, Tauchman, and Morel, and then, the sprinkles of Bush.
Yeah, and you might say, as you're listening to this, and we thank you whenever and wherever you may be listening, well, guys, they've been out with their 2 and 3 hitters.
Right.
Well, all right. Well, let's see now as these dudes check in again, what really happens and if that invigorates the lineup or not. And I would be surprised if Seiya, who we could finish this segment with, Sam, he was 2 for 2 with a walk on Wednesday. He even stole a base. He's moving really well. He is supposed to play again on Thursday in Des Moines. But I would be surprised based on just how Wednesday went, and he's been building a nice runway. He's been patient. They've been appropriate about it. It would be surprising if he wasn't in there Friday, and I'll look forward to seeing his name back in there. I will.
Oh, yeah. It changes the whole lineup. I mean, now it'll be really interesting. Hopefully Nico is healthy. You say he's going to go back to the 2-hole, you'd think. So
yeah, the way I look at it is either 2 or 5.
Oh, well, if he should not be hitting 5th on this team.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it looks like Bellinger and Morel are firm 3-4.
Well, but Seiya Suzuki is the best hitter on this team. He should not be hitting 5th.
Well, then put him 2nd.
I would say it's 2nd or 3rd, because if they're really in love with this Hoerner leadoff thing, then maybe they slide Tauchman in the 2 spot and then Seiya, then Bellinger, or Bellinger 2, Seiya 3, something like that. I just, I think the team's better off with Hoerner not leading off. I've said that for a while. I'd like to see Tauchman in there. I think it's a spot made for him. But, it seems like Council's kind of married to that at this point. I've said it on Friday. This is what I would like the lineup to be. This is just plainly what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Tauchman leading off. I'd like to see Seiya in the 2-hole. I'd like to see Bellinger in the 3-hole. I'd like to see, like you said, find Morel in the 4-hole. Then you can go Nico 5.
Great.
And then who am I missing? Bush 6th. And then I'd like to see Happ 7 and Swanson 8th. Or Swanson 7, Happ 8, whatever it is. And then your 9-hitter. That's what I'd like to see. I don't think that's what it's going to be, but that's what I'd like to see.
And it's reasonable. So we will see what happens there. Hayden Wesneski was the pitcher on Wednesday, and he did well again. And we're going to talk about his future with the club right after this. Today's episode is brought to you by DoorDash. Surprise mom forever where you are with fresh bouquets, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and more to make Mother's Day that much better. It's this weekend. You want to pair flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants? Do you want to try a bookstore or gift card? Does she love a good latte? Well, then how about a gift card to her favorite coffee shop? You really can't go wrong with DoorDash. You could get thoughtful gifts. She deserves the convenience you need. Choose same-day delivery or schedule a week ahead for when flowers and gifts arrive to her door with DoorDash. Again, just a few days remaining, and you can get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place and get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB to order using DoorDash today.
This episode is also brought to you by Monopoly Go. We've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friend's money as I possibly can. That's right. The smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone anytime with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards. Make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball and charge other players rent for your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now free on the Apple or Google Play Store.
Cubs play the Pirates at 5:40 p.m. Central Friday, and you can hear every pitch of the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM by searching Cubs on the SXM app. Well, Hayden Wesneski pitched very nicely yet again on Wednesday. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts on 94 pitches. So they really extended him in terms of pitch count on Wednesday. On the season, in 22 2/3, he carries a 1.59 ERA. Sam, this was a guy who got called up towards the end of 2022 after the Efros for Wesneski trade that July. He really impressed down the stretch of that year, up and down last year, didn't make the opening day roster in March, but made improvements clearly, and he's been fantastic since being up with the big league club the last couple of weeks. And what did you think about him on Wednesday? And then we'll get into, okay, so he's a productive piece to the team, but I wonder if that's regardless of role or not.
Thought he was really good on Wednesday. On a different day, probably would have thrown a shutout. First batter of the game, unfortunate back foot slider, clips Arise on an 0-2 pitch. Then he has Cronenworth with 1 out, struck out. Ball's not called, full count pitch to Cronenworth, sends Arise on the move, ground ball to second. That gets Arise over to second, Bloop hit, scores a run. Then in the 5th inning, another couple of Bloop hits. He was really good. He deserves a lot of credit. You're seeing why Jed didn't splurge for a starter, because he believes in the depth of these guys. Brown's been helpful at times. Wesneski's been good. Assad's been tremendous. It's obviously been a huge strength of the team that none of us saw coming. My role, your role with Wesneski, these questions you always ask me, they're always so hard to answer because I don't know what their plan is with Kyle Hendricks. If Kyle Hendricks went 4 2/3, he allowed 1 earned run and he walked a bunch of guys. You cannot tell me that he's a better option right now than Hayden Wesneski as a starter. You can't. Yeah, now, if Wesneski's going to come back, if Hendricks is going to come back and start, like you said, maybe against Pittsburgh at Wrigley, because there's no way they throw him out there against Atlanta. That would be irresponsible. Yeah. Then, so it looks like Wesneski will get 1 more start against Atlanta, and then I think Wesneski will go in that Ben Brown role, and we haven't seen Ben Brown in quite a while.
He's on a milk carton right now.
Yeah. Okay, is he a long guy? Is he a guy? Council's going to have options. Like, let's hypothetically say you're playing the Brewers, and it's the exact same situation as it was Friday afternoon. You got 1 out in the 8th, and you got Churio coming up, Contreras coming up, lefty, and then Adames. That's a great 1-inning stretch right there for Wesneski. He could come in that spot. He's a much better option right now than Adbert Alzolay. So to answer your question, I think he'll be valuable in either way. But right now, I just think he's a much more valuable starter. And while I'm giving flowers, I'd like to also this was a big point of our show, and it's still not a closed book, but it deserves. I think we as a show, me more than you, need to acknowledge it more. And I'm not jinxing it. I don't believe in that. But Christopher Morel has really settled in defensively at third base, and I did not see it coming. I really didn't. I thought he would show flashes, but I didn't think he would have a month straight of just being really steady there. Can you hear me knocking on wood?
Yeah, I do. Actually.
I'm knocking on wood, but I just want to give him credit because I was hard on him there, and I really didn't see it. I really didn't think that it would work out like that. And so far, it's almost to the point where I think it's almost getting to the point where you roll your eyes when Madrigal comes in for him late because you'd rather just Morel get the at-bat. But just credit to both those guys because those are 2 guys, Morel at third base and Wesneski as a pitcher that I wasn't counting on a ton of production from Morel defensively, Wisniewski, that they've delivered. So kudos to them.
Christopher Morel has not made an error since game number 5. Pretty crazy when you break it down like that. Do some reflection. So absolutely right there with some flowers for him. It does seem like Kyle Hendricks is going to return to the rotation. Now, I do think they might squeeze out the whole details of the rehab. So you could be on a rehab assignment for 30 days. I think he hits that ceiling. Then, well, I'm starting to change my mind. I do think he hits that ceiling. Not surprised if he leads off the Pirates series, like I mentioned the other day, but they could keep going with him at Iowa. He comes back. It's Steele, Tyone, and Managa, Assad, Hendricks. Wisniewski goes to the pen. He is an important piece down there, either in a one-inning role or a multi-inning role. Ben Brown starts to transition to a one-inning guy. Jordan Wicks, as he keeps progressing, he gets healthy. What's the plan for him? He's right. So early in his tenure that options are not even part of the convo. He could very easily just go back to Des Moines and start.
No, but he's earned the right to start.
But what if he's earned the right to start? But okay, so now the Cubs have eight starters or 7.
Six-man rotation, maybe.
Do you try a 6-man rotation, especially during a long stretch like you just had? I say yes.
Yeah, you might.
I say yes. And when you don't see a spot for an off day, I say you do it. The other idea I had for Wicks, Sam, would be going off your Hendricks theories. So he comes back.
They're a tag team.
He only faces 18 hitters. Doesn't matter if he got out all 18. He goes to the dugout. Wicks comes in. Or Hendricks goes a time and a half and does 12, 13 hitters. Doesn't matter what's going on. See you later. Put on the gym shoes. Wicks comes in. Those are my ideas. The bullpen, I think, just naturally is going to get better.
I really
Finally. It's been almost 40 games, and we're going to have these dudes, Wicks, Wisniewski, and Brown in the pen, and then Merriweather in a month. Finally.
I really like –
And Horton.
I really like that idea with Wicks and Hendricks.
Thank you.
I like that idea.
Appreciate it.
Don't forget about Drew Smiley.
That's right.
There's
maybe he'll go to the
well. If you want to start talking trades, I think you got a lot of cooks in the kitchen here when things are back. Somebody might somebody could warrant a trade for somebody. Maybe
they could maybe even for a closer
or a left fielder.
Wow, did not expect you to go there. Coming up next, we do go down on the farm. We're going to give you numbers of Cade Horton's first start at AAA, and then give you slash lines for Owen Casey and Matt Shaw.
Oh boy,
who is
ice
first
cold.
Number starts with a 1. Stay tuned.
Oh boy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. Pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and then watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season is well underway, so don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entry. They're really simple to play, with these entries taking less than 60 seconds to submit, turning $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps of your screen. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 by using code LOCKEDONMLB. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. 3 players we're going to take a look at to close down this episode. 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. 70-plus pitches for Cade Horton. That was his first start with the iCubs. They're in AAA, and we're going to start investigating this a little more in a couple weeks. Ty, one of our everydayers, will be back. He'll guest host with us, give us a fuller report. But basically, late last week, I think it was, Sam mentioned how in 17 or 18, right? Craig
18,
Counsell
18, yeah.
Used two pitchers that were hot prospects, and they exclusively pitched out of the pen. And their names were Corbin Burnes and Brandon Woodruff. So I do think history will repeat itself eventually there.
Yeah.
And Horton will not start this year. He will pitch out of the pen and be good at it, hopefully. Owen Casey, Sam, 281, 423, 447 for his 34 ball games at AAA. 3 homers, 8 doubles. I think those numbers have basically stayed the same, the 3 homers, 8 doubles for a couple weeks. Up until Wednesday's game, actually. And we'll see. He's stayed in the outfield. I know he was taking reps at first in spring, but we haven't seen him over there yet in the real season. And I'm going to give you a slash line. You tell me the player. 195, 360, 333.
Yeah, ever since I talked about Matt Shaw, I don't think he's gotten a base hit.
I mean, like, literally, he hasn't gotten a hit.
First
195? What happened?
So first of
all, we're going to have to call Mick Gillespie.
Gillespie, or is it Gillespie?
Gillespie, excuse me.
I appreciate you bringing this up.
Yeah.
Because I don't like... I actually didn't know what his last name was, by the way. I guess it's...
Broadcaster Mick is how I know him.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to be mean to you there. You know those names more than I do.
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing this up, and I know we're going a little long here.
Sure.
I don't like how Cubs Twitter reporters, they only tell you when these guys are doing well. I haven't seen one tweet about how bad Matt Shaw's been. And look, I haven't watched him. I mean, the on base is still excellent, so he's taking his walks. My guess, it's part of the developmental process. He's lagging along. I thought by this time we'd be I genuinely thought we'd be like, okay, how much more do we need to see before he's in AAA? Let's get this thing going. Clearly, that's not the case. Clearly, that's not the case. But based on him taking his walks, I think he had 3 walks today.
Okay.
So I think he will be fine. I think there's a hit tool in there, and it will happen. But I am definitely surprised that he's hitting 195, and it irks me. I see all these guys, Alex Cohen all the time, phenomenal broadcaster, but it's like you only hear the good stuff. You know, it's like we don't get a chance to watch these guys daily, so we need somebody to be like, hey, just so you know, Kevin Alcantara is 2 for his last whatever. Just so you know, I just think it's a little bit fair weather with some of these prospects every now and then. But I think Matt Shaw will be fine. I like what you said about Cade Horton, and it'll work out. These guys, like Theo Epstein always said, it's not linear. Goes up and down.
Yeah, that really has become a pretty famous quote. We'll be back Friday. Sam will be with Ethan Smith of Locked On Pirates. Paul Skeens makes his debut this weekend against the cold Cubs. They'll also preview the rest of that series and dip their toe, I think, into some Cubs-Pirates history, maybe even some past trade history these two teams have. And shout out to Kyle Stanley from The Setup Man, who really enjoys our show. My appearance on there, I believe, is going to be posted Wednesday night or Thursday morning.
Oh, when was that?
And I'll try to put the link to that in the episode description or the comments or something
I must have forgot to RSVP to that.
Yeah, he said he would like to have you on at some point too.
Oh, that's so nice.
So yeah, that's nice.
I'm just messing with you.
First segment with him, we talked a little bit again about just the origin story, and it just makes me.
When was this?
It's definitely a prideful moment talking about this program and the success.
Yeah,
I recorded this earlier today, Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be posted, I believe, Wednesday night or Thursday morning. So
I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, at least the first 10, 15,
Well, I'm going to watch the whole thing.
Well, it's like an hour. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. We went a little long. So not sure what the retention time will be on that. You give us 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way.
Ground
Be
ball
sure
to
to
second from half. This will be routine. 4-3. 2 down.
Subscribe on YouTube as we make the push to 10,000 subs. Shoot, maybe by June 1 we get there.
Let's go for it.
Smash the like button for the algorithm so we pop up more in the search results, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. And that's for really the algorithm as well. And if you want more of us, consider supporting by subscribing to our Unlocked podcast. Brand new episode just posted Wednesday morning of that show as well. And the link to subscribe is in this episode description. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.